My wife was like,
Yeah?
"Are you really going out there?" And I was like, "Yeah." And as I'm walking
Love
out, my
it.
next door neighbor, he's like, "Yes, we're sneaking out."
Love
So
it.
I'm running out. It's awesome. I think I'm missing.
I was not downtown, but
Hey, Doctor,
I had fun. Yeah.
is there restrictions to be added to Canvas?
If they registered within the last 24 hours, then it won't.
It's yeah.
Oh, yeah. Send me a DM on Discord. And give me your.
To do that?
I don't know if anybody can other than me, but I'll do it first thing after class. It's no problem. Give me your TU email address. Not like a.
Where should I put it in?
You can literally send me a DM.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm feeling great, brother. How are you?
You ever look at YouTube?
Not today. Next time. It's on the list right after class. I'm sorry.
It's fine. We kind of did it last minute.
Yeah. Hey, could you stand? Yeah, Mitch. There we go. I'm just aiming. That'll work.
Did you watch the game last night?
Yeah, every minute. And while I watched the game, I played a game that was so much fun. It's called Star Wars X-Wing. It's a tabletop dogfight game.
Wait, for real? Like a board game?
Bro, kinda, except there's no board. Like, instead of having like...
2 people?
Yeah.
No way.
But instead of having like squares and spaces that you move, it's got move templates, like a curved arc that's this long, and so you put it down, you move your ship from there to there, and then it's like there's like a cone you can aim. Bro, it's crazy fun. It's
What's
like
it called?
X-Wing.
X-Wing?
Yeah.
Because my wife and I freaking love board games.
Oh
We've been
well,
trying to find more
this is like super
two-player.
complicated, and it's expandable.
Oh,
like,
really? Like
you buy
Catan?
you buy the base kit, and then you can just keep buying more ships and stuff, and it like gets even crazier.
Say the name again? Space what?
X-Wing, Star Wars X-Wing, like you know, Star Wars. Good morning. Sorry, bud. You sit up front. This is part of the duty. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Another 30 seconds here, and then we'll get started. People get in. Find your people. These chairs are very awkwardly placed. This is to force me to just like move forward and be closer. I don't know. Good morning. How was your weekend? Fabulous. Oh yeah. Tons of fun, unless you're a Vikings fan, which I'm not, so that's cool. There are still people coming in for the first time, so that's kind of cool. Welcome to class. I'm Tony Farrar from the Mechanical Engineering Department, and I love to teach students how to break complex tasks into small, digestible chunks. Thanks for being here today. I know it may have been a little harder than usual to get out of bed and be here. So today we're talking about languages and functions, depending on if my laser beam and all works for us. Where's this? There we go. Okay. Yeah. So here's my question for you for the day. Imagine if you actually followed instructions literally. For example, go through that door. I'm not actually asking you to leave right now, but if we followed that instruction literally, we might get a result something like this. When I say go through that door, I actually mean something different, don't I? And so as we warm up today, I'd like you to break into your groups for 2 minutes and imagine for yourself what I actually mean when I say go through that door. Cool? And go. Whoa. And we'll be back with you in a minute and a half. Good morning.
I just signed up with the class, so I don't know which group am I.
Ah. You probably, when did you sign up?
On Friday.
On Friday. New edition.
Mohammed?
All right, we had a few of those. Sorry about that. Pick a cluster and jump in for today, and we'll go from there.
So I just random
Yeah,
group?
yeah. All right, another half a minute here. I'm verklempt. You are. You are. Here's this. All right, so who wants to tell me what I actually mean when I say go through that door?
My team does.
Cool.
I guess.
You just got voluntold to share. Do it. What'd you get?
You guys got to speak up. It's hard to
I can't hear you. Okay. We got hands over here. We'll go over here. Check if it's a door. Okay, that's interesting.
If it's a fire exit, find another door.
If it's a fire exit, find another door. Okay. What else? It was a lot more talkative a minute ago. Yeah. What kind of door is it? All right, so now we got to distinguish maybe how we open doors, right? Sometimes you push on them, sometimes you pull on them. Okay. Yeah. We need to get directions to the door, right? Where is it located compared to where I'm at right now? Yeah. Is it a metaphorical door? Blocking off areas of my heart. Yeah. Can we unlock the door? Is it locked or not? Cool. Yeah. If it's a fire exit, maybe choose a different door. So we've got some decision making to be done. So, yeah. Do I have the ability to open the door? Man, does anybody else feel like we're getting ready to play Dungeons and Dragons? All right, so obviously I could not foresee every possible. This is what I came up with when I thought about going through a door. Step 1 would be stand up. Excuse me. Step 0 would be stand up. Computers count starting from 0. Next, we would walk to the door. That kind of mirrors some of the things you were saying. And then from there, we would maybe, since it is this particular door, we would press on the lever, and we would push the door open. And then we would want to step forward. Interesting condition here. If we're past the arc of the door, then we know we can let go of the door and it'll close behind us. But otherwise, we'd want to go back to step 4 and step forward farther. This is one possible list of instructions for go through the door. But here's what's interesting. Every one of these is a complicated thing too. What do I actually mean when I say stand up? So let's try this exercise again. 2 minutes. What do I mean when I say stand up? Go. Good morning.
I know we're supposed to get in groups, but
Yeah.
I can't find Christian.
Christian! Hat right there, waving hands. Yep. Over here. Another minute. MATLAB. I think Python starts with 0. Yeah. It's one of the things that you always want to look up when you start a new language, though, because it's kind of half and half.
But in general,
Yeah.
start with 0.
Yeah.
So just try and start to get used to things and get away, because otherwise when you're picking up an index with an array, it's going to get all
You guys done much programming before? None? No? A C class? Right? And they start at 0, right? You see? What made it terrible? What made it terrible? Huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. That can be hard. A lot of times, things, like, you take it for granted once you understand it, right? Like, I can tell you go through the door. If I tell my 1-year-old go through the door, he'll put a raspberry at me. All right. So, what do I mean when I say stand up?
Over here.
This one first, and then I'm coming at you. Yeah.
Well, I first thought about maybe like what you're doing. Either you're sitting, lying down.
Okay, so we got to check our current state. Maybe we're sitting, maybe we're lying down. Okay? Maybe we're in a chair, maybe we're on the floor. Interesting. Somebody yelled over here. Yeah. Ooh, check that you're not already standing. Okay, so kind of one more condition that could be in that state to begin with of what are we doing? Yeah. Ooh, what if you can't stand? Then you come up with a different action to replace that probably, right? Yep. Yeah. Check if you have legs. That would be part of it. One more time. Check if there's an obstacle. Maybe you're tied to the chair because you've been taken hostage. Okay, lots and lots of checking of the state. Let's presume we're sitting in a chair. Now what? Yeah.
You have to figure out which order to activate certain muscles.
Figure out what order to activate certain muscles. Oh man, now we're getting specific. I'm sorry? Build motivation. Find a reason to get up in the morning. And then, yeah, maybe activate muscles. Yeah. Ooh, get the timing of the muscles right. Interesting. Yep. Press down on the floor. It's not so much that I'm standing up as it is I'm moving the earth away from me. All right, so once again, I'm not clairvoyant, so I came up with slightly different steps here, but this was my idea for it. No right answer here, but perhaps close your laptop would be a first step to standing up, right? Because if somebody has their laptop open and you were to stand up right now, it might be catastrophic, right? Number 2, close your notebook if you've got one of those out. Place your pencil in your backpack, place a notebook in the backpack, and then place your laptop in the backpack, because I presume that somehow you are both taking handwritten notes and typing them. Next, we want to fold down the desk because that's currently trapping us. We had somebody say there's an obstacle, right? And then from there, place your feet squarely in front of you and press the earth away. Oh, yes, and use the arms on the armrests to assist in this motion, right? Straighten knees, back, and hips, and center your weight over your feet. So these were the steps I came up with. Now, we kind of got ahead of ourselves a little bit here, so I'm gonna give you less time for the last one. But even something like closing your laptop is actually a complicated set of actions, isn't it? Let me give you 30 seconds, not 2 minutes, to determine what it is I mean when I say close your laptop. Go. Oh! What do I mean when I say close a laptop? This is the last one of these, I swear. Yeah. Check there's nothing in the way. Who's ever cracked a screen because they left something sitting on their laptop and shut it? That's a very disappointing moment in your life. Is that because that happened? Because you got the next step? Oh, it happened. There's no smile over there. Yeah. Move hand to top of screen. Interesting. Okay, what else? Somebody hasn't shared it. Yeah. Pull until, okay, move your hand until it reaches the bottom of the laptop. Okay. Maybe there's a step in between those that's missing, right? What is it? Yeah.
Decide the speed at which you move.
Oh, decide the speed. Maybe sub-steps. Yep. Yeah. Oh, close open files maybe. Okay. Maybe grab on before we move the hand, right? So that I'm not just reaching my hand up and then touching the front of my, I don't know. This could go lots of ways. All right, so hand off here. and we'll give up on that last minute. Here's the steps I came up with. Once again, no right answer yet because it's all very situational. So we could save the open files. We could lift our hand. I chose to use my right hand to close it. Extend until my fingers can grasp the top of the screen. Actually grasp the screen. Pull until the lid is closed, and then you're done. Now here's the thing. I could ask again what I mean when I say raise your hand up and grab the top of your screen, and eventually we'd end up where you guys ended up earlier, which is firing specific muscles in specific orders, right? First I need my bicep to do something, then I need my tricep to do something, and all of those things end up needing me to go to the gym. So, eventually we end up at a place where what we're going to do to make all of these things happen that cause you to go from the seat you're in now to going through that door are going to start with observing the position of individual body parts, constricting specific motion or specific muscles to cause motion, and then actually monitoring the change in the position of those body parts. Yeah. Oh, geez, yeah, you're right. I do. And that's the interesting thing, right? I need to go find somebody who knows kinesthesiology and anatomy who can actually teach this. Right, yeah. Well, and here's the crazy part. Even this isn't the root level, right? There's a layer deeper still. At the end of the day, if I want to constrict this muscle, what I really want to do is send an electrical signal from my central processing unit along a wire called a nerve to a muscle that responds to signals like that. Wouldn't it be irritating if every time you wanted to tell somebody how to go through the door, you had to list send electrical impulse 1 to muscle C, now send electrical impulse 2 to muscle D. Oh, now we need 2 simultaneously. Monitor via optic nerve 1. I mean, this could get crazy quick. And we run into glitches, right? The steps that I wrote out, what if the person didn't even have a laptop open and I said, step 1, close laptop? You're smart enough to understand that you don't need to close a laptop if you don't have one out. Your computer, laptop itself, is not. There's this interesting thing. People can be presented goals, and as if by magic and subconsciously, you can decide what the steps are that need to happen to make that thing happen without even really thinking about it, right? If I said, go through the door, within 15 seconds, if you were brave enough to stand up and walk out of class, you'd be gone, right? And you never really stopped to evaluate all the steps it takes. In fact, if I said the real goal, which isn't even going through the door, right? The real goal is go outside. I could say, go outside, and every one of us would come up with a unique solution without really even thinking hard to get ourselves outside. You would create a plan, you would come up with the details of that plan, and then you would actually act to accomplish that, and things would happen, all of which would occur without you actually considering your gluteus maximus. Computers, on the other hand, don't understand abstract goals at all. Kind of like Drax when somebody went like this and he said, yes, and why would I want to put my finger across this person's neck? Now, we all know what this means. He was a very literal person and didn't. The computer can't actually break down a complex task for you. You have to teach it how. That's the heart of programming. That's what we're actually doing around here. And so, let's do an analogy now from nerves and things like that. At their deepest level, computers are electrons that do things. In fact, they store numbers in binary. They store values, maybe I should say, in binary, zeros and ones. These are basically switches turned on and off. They can take that value and put it in memory. They can transfer it from memory to a processor. The processor can do things to that, swap it back to memory. The computer's smart enough to do things like change the color of a pixel on a screen. And so at the end of the day, this is a lot like talking at the nerve level, if we're sending electrical impulses from our brain. The thing is, you don't want to tell the computer to change pixel number 37 to a value of magenta. You want to say, draw me this picture. or make this character walk across the screen in my video game. And so what we've done to make things more convenient is we've invented programming languages like JavaScript, like Python, and what they've done is they've packaged these basic commands, things like store value in memory, take value to processor, change color of pixel, and we've made them into human readable and understandable commands. Things like a plus sign, an operator, variables, while, for. Maybe you haven't gotten that far yet, but you will soon. This is kind of the equivalent of telling your computer, move one muscle at a time. That's the level of control we have when we start writing in computer languages. And so all the way down at the bottom of the logical thought here is lights and switches, are lights and switches, and zeros and ones and things like that. And one level higher up than that are things like programming languages that translate the meaning of these lights and switches into things that we can type in and remember what they mean. You know, changing one of these digits is the difference between a plus sign and a minus sign, and I don't think you'd care to keep track of it. And so we just teach the computer using a programming language that this plus sign corresponds to one of these things and a minus sign corresponds to a different combination of these so that we don't have to remember it. That's what programming languages do. But even that is a little inconvenient because many of the tasks that we want to accomplish, we actually want to do in multiple places, right? We're in a classroom right now, but if you wanted to leave a movie theater, standing up and walking, pretty much the same thing. If you're in a restaurant and you wanted to leave, you would stand up and walk. And if you're in the toilet, you would want to stand up and leave. Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have to start with close laptop, place feet squarely on floor, press on armrests every time we wanted somebody to leave? We could just say, stand up and walk out. The way that we do that is with a thing called a function, which is essentially, there are built-in ones to each programming language, but we can also define our own. And this is like creating a new built-in command. So I could create something like a stand-up command or a walk command, and now all of those steps, all the way down until eventually we're at the level of zeros and ones moving around, is handled for us, and all I have to do is say stand up and walk. And so I could make a command that says stand up, and a command that says walk, and what's going to happen? Stand up and walk, presumably. Depends on the behavior of the function and how I baked it. I actually created this function in my mind that it would throw an error at me that says, I don't know how far or in which direction to walk. And so what I actually want to do is say stand up and, I don't know, walk north 35 steps, which, you know, we could figure out. Another option, though, like maybe we don't want to use GPS and we don't want to count steps. Another way we could do is we could say stand up and walk straight forward until you hit an intersection and then stop. And so even inside my function, I could give it some decision-making ability to decide based on which input I give it, how it behaves. So as I bring this in for a landing, HackerRank uses functions. And so if you were in Canvas, you saw your assignment 1, the one that's due today. Maybe we should have made it assignment 0. That would have just gotten really confusing, huh? Pick 3 of these, click the link. I clicked on variables. And it says, click here and enter the password above. So if you're having any trouble logging in, that's because your TUID and password are not the passwords for HackerRank. That's the password. And it changes for every assignment, which is why we made the link say, click here and enter the password above. Although if this were like Gandalf right now, everybody would be typing in the word above, right? Speak friend and enter. Okay, so once we get into HackerRank, it looks something like this already when you get there. And what you see is a thing that looks like the beginning of the definition of a function. If you haven't actually gotten to functions yet in your learning, this is okay, but we have to use them to get HackerRank to do what we want it to do, which is give you feedback. And so all of your work in HackerRank is going to be done by creating functions. And so we've prototyped the function here where we say the name of the function and some inputs like walk north 35 steps. And your job is to write the code that goes right in here, and it's a good idea to indent it to match this indentation here, so start there. The text that you see here with slashes in front of it is commented text. The computer is ignoring that. That's to make this even easier for people to read. And so, for example, and I did switch assignments here, so don't think you can just instantly copy this down and get one. But, for example, you would type a solution that looks like this. And so you would type your code here. And the key thing that I want to point out is this is my response, this first line here, that's my response to one of the questions that I was asked to solve. And the next line here, return result, that has to do with how functions work. Functions calculate and do things, and when they're done, you want to spit out the number. And so until you really know what it means, this is okay. Just remember that your code won't do what it's supposed to do and give you passes on all the assignments until you type something like that. So whatever the variable is that you've defined, you would want to return it. And you'll see in the instructions it says things like, don't forget to return your value. Ask me questions here if you have them. We're doing okay? Yeah. Will you mess with the coding above the comment and things like that? Eventually, some of it, yes, but there's a lot of it that is just the wrapper that makes HackerRank do what it does. And one option would be to hide it from you altogether. We kind of think sometimes it's good to show you that stuff, even if you're not going to play with it, just so you can look at it and start to puzzle out what it's up to. But we'll, for now at least, as we work our way in, we're going to tell you where you need to type. If you were following along with, say, Codecademy or Simon on Lynda, everything in here is the only thing he would be showing you at this point. And you would essentially need to put blinders on and just write your program buried in there. And that's just the way HackerRank works to be able to give you feedback. Great question. Oh, and one more while we're here. This is a little bit specific, but equal signs in programming don't mean equal signs in equations. Have you caught that one yet? What's an equal sign in a program mean? Assignment. Cool. And what that means is take this value, store it in a variable called result. So now there's a thing called result that knows a number. Yeah.
Can I answer his question real quick?
Sure.
So if you're using the Scratchpad in Firefox, and you want to allow copy and pasting, you want to paste something to it, you have to explicitly say allow paste, pasting.
Oh, interesting.
Above where your function is.
Oh, okay. So
Do that, it will not let you.
in HackerRank specifically?
No, it's in Scratchpad.
Oh, okay.
Like if you're doing it,
I gotcha. So if you're playing with Firefox, there's things there. That might be a thing to make a little quick tutorial on. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. Cool. All right, so tonight you should be done with 3 of these. And then next Monday you should be done with 3 more. And then the last 4 you should be done with the Monday after that. Hopefully you're making solid progress there. If you have questions, guess where you can go to get them answered? The engineering library, where we're hanging out all day just to help you. Okay, so tomorrow, this is what your grade book should look like. We are working on the system for grading, but we will be updating assignments once at least every 24 hours. So if you've submitted things, give us a 24-hour buffer at the most, and then you can start yelling that it hasn't shown up in Canvas. Okay? But this is what yours will look like when you scroll all the way down to the bottom of grades tomorrow. If it doesn't look like this, and it's not an error on our part, ... Okay, so I'm wrapping up, but before I have you run away from me, I wanted to pause for just a second and ask, since tonight's our first due date, how it's going. Yeah. It's fun. All right, I like that. Uh-huh.
It's a little confusing because the sections or modules on Codecademy
Uh-huh.
don't match up with the sections that we do for homework. So you don't know, like, they're probably named different or
Right.
different things. So it's kind of like confusing when it comes to that.
That was a bit of a challenge for us because we're trying to pull multiple resources. Everybody has their own outline. this was our attempt at saying, as you watch these things, keep an eye out for these key concepts. So one thing you can do, obviously, I guess, is open all the assignments and look at them as you're going through and see which ones make the most sense to kind of map to the concepts. Yeah, that's something we're constantly working on trying to clarify, so I appreciate the feedback there. Yeah. They're time consuming? Yeah, programming's funny that way, right? I've got stories from my own life where I spend 8 hours working and finally find that one semicolon that was out of place. You never feel like you have... It's kind of the equivalent of getting your oil changed on your car. You got to do it, but your car doesn't do anything more awesome after you spent the money. I'd like to give one piece of feedback here. Let me please remind you that with 300-ish people, if you all send me questions in email, it's going to be a very slow response, which is why we've created the email address codinghelp@temple.edu. That gets emptied at least 3 times, 7 days a week. And so if you want an answer within 6 to 8 hours, send it there. If you want an answer within 6 to 8 weeks, send it here. Yeah.
Sometimes, like, for me, I'm doing the functions one. It's hard to tell what the coding hacker rank is going to put in to find the result.
Okay.
I'm coding it, I'm like, I'm not sure what they're going to input, so I don't know how to.
Right. So they give, if you run it once or twice on the test, not the submit, and you scroll down, even if it fails, it'll show you the inputs in the order they were done.
Yeah, but like my result has like a weird, sometimes it looks a little weird. I'm like, I don't know why it's that way.
Right.
Inputs it the way it looks.
This is all part of the fun of learning it for the first time. My inputs looked weird too. By the way, I tried to create this slide for you this morning, and I had an error. I forgot to type the word var, and I kept getting red text all over my screen, and I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on, and I went to Google to figure it out. This is part of programming, is that it's a little messy, so we'll get there. And even the automated feedback is only as automated as it can, as we can foresee errors and things come up. Right. But if you come to group code 9 to 5 every day of the week up in the engineering library, we can sit with you and help you battle through these things. Okay, so as we wrap up here, what we want to do is make sure that your groups are getting solidified, make sure that you're starting to get to know each other. And so I have reserved the next 15 minutes of class. You're not dismissed, but I want you to spend a little time getting to know each other as a group. We're not going to reconvene at the end of this 15 minutes, and so if your group would like to go sit in a circle in a library or a lounge or wherever, that's cool, but you're dismissed at 10:50, not right now. Please go spend a little time getting to know each other and hang out with your team leads. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Go Eagles, and have a great day.
I don't know all your names yet, but I know all your faces, so if you try to dip out.
Good morning.
Morning. Are we allowed to hold meetings like with our individual group?
Absolutely. Yeah, anything you want.
Not as a team leader, as a program manager.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I just wrote the software for
Hang on.